Hello and welcome to Buzz Banter. I'm Das Hat.
I'm Maya.
And today we bring you a movie review. Actually, the movie review. The Dark Knight Rises.
Batman.
Na 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 na.
Batman.
Na 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 na.
Batman. Wait, you could go on like this forever, but on to the review.
Go higher and lower. Alright then. This was the ending that we needed. Christopher Nolan's, the last film that Christopher Nolan's doing for the Batman series. And I gotta say, I'm sorry to see you go. But,
Beautiful movie.
very, very well done film. Now, just elsewhere around the internet, you hear a lot of people going, hey, it's a very sort of love-hate movie. Some people really like it, some people really hate it and everything. There's a lot of questioning where exactly this fits in with regards to like how good it is between The Dark Knight and Batman Begins, which one is it closer to and all of that. What did you think?
I liked all three. Like I'm on the I loved it side rather than the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it's a good transition for all three movies because it actually gives enough flashback that it refreshes your memory. Because I didn't go for the marathon. I just went to the movie directly. Like I guess it's been a while since I first saw the Dark Knights. The first of the trilogy, right? So
yeah, Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. So I needed some refresher. So I actually appreciated this finale.
Yeah, you do get bits of flashback, and the storyline does tie into some of the events from Batman Begins.
Yeah.
In a very real way, this could have been the sequel rather than The Dark Knight, in some sense. But you
have the video game in between.
Pretty much, actually.
Yeah.
Because aside from that 8-year sabbatical that... oh yeah, we're going to be talking about spoilers. We do it in all of our videos, whether we intend to or not. It is a very good movie. We're both definitely going to recommend checking it out.
Go to theaters. You will thank yourself for it.
And it was filmed with IMAX cameras, and it does have a lot of that visual spectacle in it that's worthy of seeing at IMAX. So
there was no 3D option, right? But I was like, 3D wouldn't even add to it. It's already gorgeous on its own. The way the camera does its panoramic views of Gotham, the way they show off all the new technologies that Batman uses, right? You don't really need that 3D aesthetic to enjoy this movie, but the IMAX would definitely help. This is the one time I watched a movie with no popcorn, and the fact that I had no popcorn, it allowed me to suspend my belief even more so.
Yeah, it was a very good film. Essentially, after the events of after Harvey Dent dies, and Batman takes the blame not only for his death but also for the murders that he committed, he basically goes into hiding, and Bruce Wayne himself becomes a recluse after losing Rachel and failing to save Harvey Dent. He just kind of. His own life sort of falls apart.
He became a recluse. The equivalent in, I guess the Japanese term would be hikikomori. He stays at home so much that the cartilage on his knees aren't there. He's just...
no, that's actually because of the adventuring that he does. You find out, at a doctor's office, just how broken his body really is.
Yeah,
essentially, a new threat arises in the form of Bane. And you also have a new hothead that joins up Commissioner Gordon's task force, a man by the name of Edward Blake.
Those who aren't fans of the comics would just be like, he would make a good sidekick, and you just keep thinking that for the whole movie.
Yeah, because there's a little nudge towards the end of the film that makes you think
maybe Nolan will come back.
Well,
maybe. Just for the end.
Actually, no. The end. I disagree with you there because the ending of the film, the way that it's set up, it's actually set up so that none of the cast has to return, and they can still do a sequel to this film.
Yeah, pretty much.
Without Nolan and all of that, well. A bad ending can ruin an entire project. You saw it with Mass Effect 3. You see it a lot with anime. I'm looking at you, Escaflowne. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But this was beautifully done.
This was very well done. It gives you all of the like sort of where are they now that you want and you expect from an epic.
I like the scene of Alfred in Florence. I like the fact that they revisited that scene towards the end.
Yeah, well, you knew what was going to happen. As soon as Alfred mentioned that the first time and you saw the thing rather than just him talking about it, you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, Alfred's character, I think he saw some very good development in this movie. He shows...
He's not there for... he's not there for a lot of it.
Yeah, but he had enough lines that you knew that even though he's no longer, he basically like no longer chooses not to work for Bruce, right?
He basically can't do this anymore. He can't see the man who is as his son to him do this to himself and die on the quest for this sort of insane mission, because basically organized crime has been shut down in Gotham as a result of shortly after Harvey Dent's death. They passed something called the Dent Act that gave law enforcement a lot more privilege when it came to prosecuting and finding and taking apart criminal organizations. But
that gets flipped upside down by Bane, and which I love the fact that there's a judge in the movie that I was like, is that Scarecrow? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just me.
No, it's him.
It is him. His flip personality is a judge.
He manages to weasel his way out of and into all sorts of things.
He has such nice jobs.
Now, going into this film, if you're expecting The Dark Knight, that's not what this film is. The first Batman film was essentially a character study of the early Batman and how he sort of sets up what he's doing and comes to an understanding of the place that he serves in Gotham and exactly what he can do and for how many people. And you see him sort of don that item of symbol, and the reason people liked it was because it was the first time you saw an actor actually play the three roles that are expected of him if he's playing Bruce Wayne. You have to play Batman, you need to play Bruce Wayne, but you need to play the Bruce Wayne that Bruce Wayne plays. And Christian Bale did that in fine fashion in the first one.
So he's
that sort of playboy showing up with all the girls and like getting drunk and telling all of it. So like everyone at his birthday party that they don't mean anything and all of that, like playing up the playboy aspect. You haven't seen that in any of the films. Now that being said, when you go on to The Dark Knight, that is comparatively a more intellectual film. They're dealing with the issues of justice and the lengths that you're willing to go to and the lines that you need to cross for security.
What I adored in this film was, if you've seen the studio, I think it's Studio 4 Degrees, they did an animation of Bruce Wayne going all the way to India trying to learn to deal with his suffering and pain. But this third movie, actually manages to pull the hothead detective telling Bruce that, like, you know, you're gonna have to live with it your whole life. The pain doesn't just go away. Everybody else says they understand, but it just does not disappear.
Everyone understands, but eventually, like, the understanding goes away because the pain and anger just don't go away.
Studio 4 Degrees looked at this and throw in a very it's Hindu and Buddhist philosophy into it, right? And they did this again.
Are you talking about that animation that was in the Gotham City story?
That
one was.
That animation was reflected so well in this live action. I was like, they blew me away. I was like, they just revamped it and made it so much more realistic
because the focus of this one is
suffering.
It's his suffering. It's Batman at his lowest point, and it's Bruce Wayne realizing just the level of sacrifice that will be required of him.
And the bereavement that he lives with he's not dealing with it alone. Everybody deals with bereavement in their own way. But as Bruce Wayne, he's become a recluse because of it, and like it's done so well that even as Batman, he cannot remove himself, divorce himself from this sense of loss. But what he can do as Batman, because this movie, I think it basically highlighted the fact that he has so much agency. He can do so much, but he's so afraid of his own current suffering that he's afraid that he's going to gain more. But I felt that as a hero, right? Like you basically, you know, like in as any one could tell you, right? As a reader of like hero mythologies and whatnot, it's at your lowest point that you gain the most strength because
Yeah.
you get up despite all this pain. This movie did that exceptionally well.
The
Even
film
the prison,
yeah.
there's this, what's it?
The pit.
The pit, the Hell on Earth pit prison. The way it's designed, and it's a lot like I guess I had this gladiator-esque feel that he has to train himself, perfect himself, even if like what
A
he's
little
running
bit. You have a
towards
little bit of
might
Dante's
lost.
Inferno with that.
Yeah, that too,
How he's
'cause it's
trying to
circular.
climb-
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to climb out of hell.
Yeah.
But what was
It's his lowest point. That's how I felt.
This film takes a very dark tone to it, and Bane as the villain in this film does an incredible job because unlike all of the other villains that you've seen, he is genuinely frightening. Like, let me put this into perspective. Ra's al Ghul was a threat because his plan was evil and because he was Bruce's mentor. He taught him everything that he knew, and so he was something that needed to be overcome in order, because without that happening, Bruce Wayne would never be sort of the apex predator where he was. There was still someone that was higher up than him because he had been the one to train him. Now,
Bane.
When you had the Joker, you had someone that was a conflicting ideology, someone whose Batman's point, and you saw this in the second film where he's usually not there at every crime, but people are so afraid that he might show up that they don't do anything. But what happens when you run into a villain who doesn't care? That was the issue with the Joker, and Heath Ledger's Joker was fantastically well played, and he was creepy, and he was unnerving. But Bane is truly horrifying to behold, because he's someone that you see over the course of his plan that he's smarter than Bruce Wayne. He's always 2 or 3 steps ahead of everyone else, even when it seems that he has knowledge that he otherwise shouldn't have. He is a genius. He is physically more robust than Batman. Like, he's not wearing a suit, and he's bigger than Bruce Wayne in the suit. And he fights better than him. And he is just horrifying. Because he toys with people that no one else toys with. He is a level of monster beyond anything else that you've ever seen before.
But I think because he's what he is, that he allowed for Bruce Wayne to, like, I think Alfred at the beginning, like, caused this argument. Are you Bruce? He can only see him as Bruce Wayne, but he could not see him as Batman.
Yeah.
Whereas Bruce Wayne himself, he says, no, I am the Batman. He's both. In his mentality, he is both. It's a duality of the two sides of the same coin. That's how he sees himself. Whereas Alfred does not. So when he tried,
Alfred wants more for him.
Yeah, he wants him in just the Bruce Wayne side, not the Batman side. But Bane just is like pretty much crushing him because both identities are nothing to Bane. They mean, like, he basically is like, I can step all over you when you're Bruce Wayne by, like, stealing all the monies, or he can, like, completely crush you when you're an iconic hero, or even
and
like,
fighting at your strongest, he can still beat you.
Concrete.
And you see it in the first fight up against Bane. You see at portions where Bane just lets his guard down and takes a beating and everything just to break. And like at the end of that fight, he says, "I had wondered what would break first, your spirit or your body."
Oh,
and when his spirit doesn't break, he breaks his body. Because that entire fight is just Bane showing him that there is nothing you can do to stop me. And as a concept, and as he is played, it is fantastic. And my hat's off. Well, I'm not actually going to take it off, but all right, I'll tip my hat to the actor that played Bane. His name escapes me right now. I'm sorry, he plays Bane very well in that you understand exactly what his emotion is just off of the sound of his voice and his body language.
Despite his voice being heavily accented because of
you can't see most of his face.
Yeah. You see his eyes.
Cheekbones on either side and his eyes.
I think
you miss like his entire nose, his mouth, his jaw, all of it, and yet you still know the expression on his face.
Because you can read his eyes. one of the things that I've grown up like seeing is that I feel that an actor is especially good when you can actually see the emotion all the way to their eyes.
Yeah.
And Bane, especially since like his whole face is covered,
You
you're
need-
literally reading him through his eyes. Not even like it's
Well,
of
his,
course
his
body
eyes and his
gestures.
voice a little bit.
Yeah.
When he's at the stadium and everything, and he's listening to that boy sing the national anthem.
Yeah, he looks
he says
happy,
that
yeah.
that is a lovely, lovely voice, and he stands there in the hallway,
Yeah.
like bomb trigger in his hand, and he just stands there and enjoys the national anthem being sung well,
You can-
and then
yeah.
he goes ahead with everything else, and you can see it in him, and you can hear it in
You
his
can even
voice.
see
It's
the sublime in
incredible.
his eyes when he sees you can say Batman kind of upgrades and gets his own flying
Yeah.
flying car type of thing. Bane looking at that, right? You can see even in his eyes, even then, that he's like, man, I want one.
Well,
like you can tell it.
Well, it's not just that he wants one; it's that
It's-
this is a proper challenge. This is someone that I want to fight.
Beat the crap out of him.
Yes.
And even when he falls, when Bane falls, like that single tear rolling down his eye, beautiful.
It's very
Beautiful.
well done.
It's incredibly well done. Well played. As a villain.
As a villain, I actually enjoyed him more than I enjoyed the Joker, because while
I enjoyed
the Joker played a very good philosophical game, but Bane comes off as more of a villain rather than just a different ideology.
Well, as a psychology major, I have to say that I do have my soft spot for the Joker. When I see him, I'm like, yeah, he acts like someone who's basically become a shut-in and somewhat sociopathic towards most of the world. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, like I have my soft spot. I'm like, maybe try diagnosing him while I watch this movie.
Well, that's how Harley Quinn ended up his sidekick, so don't dig too deep on that
This
one.
is why I tell myself I should not play the game. What if I end up like her? It's such a small line
But-
between sanity and insanity. But
Yeah.
that's where it comes. Like I remember we were discussing this, of course, earlier. Was that Bane is neutral evil? It's because
Yes.
he's
Uh,
you can't predict him, even though
Actually, let's run the
Yeah.
three villains.
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul is lawful evil.
yeah, he plays within the rules.
Exactly.
Lawful
Like
as
the,
in-
the League of Shadows,
Yeah.
it has always used the laws that are around to bring down cities
Yeah.
and
Law-
the corrupt.
Lawful means lawful in this case, yeah, means going by the rules and working within a system to modify it without breaking the system. That's Ra's al Ghul.
The Joker, however, is chaotic evil. He describes himself very well when he says, "I'm just a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I actually got one." You see over the course of the movie that he does have a very well-intentioned final goal. He wants to show people that their sense of justice and their sense of security and their sense of civility is just an act. And when everything hits the fan, people just drop all that and they just want to survive. But the thing is, as a final goal, that's not something that he can attain anything by. He's just doing it for the sake of chaos. So he's chaotic evil, and that is dangerous in its own way, but it's not nearly as dangerous as neutral evil.
Because neutral evil you can't predict. It just does not care. It does not care about the rules, the society. And then there.
It is totally self-absorbed, it has its own goal, and it will do anything and everything to achieve those goals, whether it's working within the rules or working out of them.
Neutral
And
evil-
you see Bane do it.
One of the most terrifying neutral evils is when there is no goal at hand. But Bane.
No,
You-
chaotic
you-
evil has no goal.
Yeah, chaotic.
But
yeah.
neutral evil has a goal, but it's willing to go farther than either lawful or chaotic evil, because a
Because
chaotic
they
evil
just don't
won't-
care. None of the rules apply because
Exactly.
it means nothing to them. That's
It-
neutral evil.
it-
Chaotic
exactly.
evil is there are rules, but it's fun to break them.
Well, let's put this into perspective. For lawful evil, Ra's al Ghul basically tried to use economics to bring down Gotham City.
Yeah.
He created this sort of poverty and everything, the poverty and the means of inequality that led to the criminal empires and everything being set up with the disenfranchised. So he's the one that would go up to the banker and everything and always stay buddy-buddy with him because he was using the banker to achieve these ends.
Yeah.
The Joker, on the other hand, you see as he goes up to the mob boss who puts the price on his head, he goes in and while he has him hostage, he has him at his mercy. And he could do anything. He could basically run the gang organization. But he kills him anyways and tells other people to kill one another. For no reason. There's absolutely no reason behind it. He's not even in the room when they're doing that. But for him, he's chaotic evil. It doesn't have a plan. He takes over that organization and everything, and he takes all of the money, but he doesn't go about it in any sort of
planned route. There's nothing structured about it. There's no standardization. He just does it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bane, on the other hand, you see it in the film when the guy that's trying to buy up Wayne Enterprises is killed. Bane goes up to him and he says, "You think just because you gave us money, this gives you power over us?" And he kills him. Basically, you serve his goals. You don't actually have a say in this, and you can die at any moment. It's his choice it's his choice when you die, and at any time he can cut you loose.
What I found was beautiful is that even Catwoman, played by Anne Hathaway, was terrified of Bane. Like
yeah. She sees the lengths that he can go through.
Yeah, I love that. She's so scared, and then her glowing moments is when she became like, when you realize that she's not evil as well. She's actually chaotic.
She's chaotic good.
She's chaotic good. She's doing good things, but she does it outside of the law, and because I guess it's because of her background that it's more difficult for her to work within.
She is more of a Robin Hood character in this thing. You don't get her fleshed out too much in this film.
A little bit.
But that's all right. Really, that's all right. She is the secondary villain. Bane is the one that you should all be paying attention to.
She's more there to like highlight the fact that even like, I guess how unfair Dent's law was, because even a villain can turn good with time.
Yes.
Or given the proper encouragements and whatnot.
Yes.
She's given encouragement. Catwoman, Anne Hathaway did a splendid job of this. Like, she points out like the unfairness of how rich people have become, and like how difficult. Like, I guess it's a masquerade where like no one can tell she's a class climber because she's wearing a mask. This was excellent. And then but Bruce Wayne is like, he's like that's not. He thinks that there's more to her than that. More to her than just like thinking about class climbing or stealing and whatnot. I thought that was an excellent touch. Also the pearls. Like, what a way to open the movie. As a reminder that Bruce's parents are dead. Batman's parents are dead. That necklace she steals, it's his parents.
It's his mother's necklace.
Yeah, I was like, that's a nice way to tie it in. He will never let go of that bereavement, and he shouldn't let go of it. It makes him stronger.
It's not that it makes him stronger. It's what traps him, and that's what this movie's about.
Yeah, too.
It's about being trapped in that cycle. That you simply cannot escape the past, and you cannot move past it, despite the best intentions of the people around you. Alfred leaves Bruce because he actually, it's a great line in the film where he says, "Those years that you were gone after the death of your parents, I had hoped you wouldn't come back."
Yeah.
Because he knew that there was nothing for him in Gotham.
I like the fact that what's the hothead detective's name?
Blake.
Blake points out something completely different. Blake gives Bruce Wayne, he's like, because since Blake himself is an orphan, right?
Blake's mother died in a car accident, but his father was killed in front of him because of a gambling debt.
Yeah. So like in his mentality, right? It's that he's like, why should you bury it? He's like, they live with it. Like all the orphans live with it every day, and like so he's trying to point out to Bruce that he's not the only one suffering, and there's so many people that need him because he can understand them. Because Bruce is a true, I guess they can stand on true even ground, rather than be like, I guess his foster parents and all these
even
the
Alfred.
Public. There you go.
Even
Alfred doesn't get it. Yeah.
The film is very well put together. The film does have its flaws, but then again, so did The Dark Knight. And if you're going to spend your time picking them out and everything, you're really just nitpicking. And I admit it of myself. If you take a look at my review on Box Office Buzz, I am nitpicking for a lot of those flaws. But the film does have its flaws. It meanders a bit in like the third quarter of the film and everything. You're just waiting for things to pick back up. But overall, it's a great movie. It's a fantastic ending to a great film series.
It's a fantastic. It's also fantastic in the fact that like all the loose ends that I felt like were kind of there in the first few movies have been tied up. I was like, whatever happened to Scarecrow?
There was one loose end that they didn't address.
Oh.
There was one.
I thought it was nicely.
There was one loose end.
Okay.
8 years they've been trying to find out who the Batman is. Did no one think to question the guy who on public TV said he knew the secret identity of Batman? What happened to that guy after The Dark Knight? You remember there was that guy that worked on the board. He was like the accountant or something for Wayne Enterprises. And he comes up to Lucius Fox with like the designs of the Batmobile.
He was just paid off to shut up.
But here's the problem with that. If you're paid off to shut up and everything, that's one thing. But there is a manhunt on for this guy who killed the city hero. Did no one think to talk to the guy who said, yeah, I know who he is, publicly?
I think he went into hiding or moved so far away, changed his name and whatnot to like.
I'm sorry. I wish they had addressed it.
I'm willing to accept that.
Yeah, like it's nitpicking, but it's a loose end that they didn't tie off.
I think everything else is tied up nicely. Though.
Yeah.
Like I mean, even like the whole like, how did he live for the past few years? Alone. Darts. Oh yeah. I guess he can keep himself preoccupied. Maybe World of Warcraft on the side.
Well, actually, someone with that many skills, he could have just gone into like amateur wrestling and everything and made the money that he needed.
But he's already rich. Oh, but he.
No, he's not anymore.
Well, not anymore. He completely ignored his company.
Yeah, that's. Well, because he sunk all of the money into the research and development to make all the Bat products and everything, which they would then like repurpose and reinvest in other places. But the thing is, as soon as he stopped being Batman, he mothballed all of that. So the whole thing just. Anyway, so that's our review of The Dark Knight Rises. Highly recommend you check it out. It's a very good film.
See it in theaters. Do yourself the favor.
See it in IMAX if you can afford to, because it definitely takes it makes very good use of it. The IMAX cameras that were used to film sections of it. So please check out the film. You will not regret it.
And don't do what I did. I actually had like candy and I put it into like a tin thing because we bought candy. I put it in. I think it was easier to just pour it into my mouth while I was eating because I didn't want to disturb anybody else around me. But the whole like I dropped stuff in the middle. It still fell out. Like the whole lid just fell somewhere, and it fell right when explosions happen. So if you're gonna eat popcorn and whatnot, just make sure when explosions happen you don't do this. It actually the people I went with, like my friends, they were all like, "Wow, this movie's in 4D. I just felt something hit me." He was whispering. I was like, no. Yeah, don't do that. Don't like. If you must, you just hold back eating the popcorn and whatnot until after. Because I didn't buy popcorn. I just had candy.
This is a film that you can go see and enjoy without having any food or drink and everything.
Yeah,
because it enraptures you that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that's it for us. I'm Das Hat.
I'm Maya.
And you've been watching Buzz Banter.
Have
We will see you when we see you.